Red One is a Christmas movie starring The Rock, Chris Evans, J.K. Simmons, and Lucy Liu. Overall, the movie is fun enough, but I don't think it'll really have any staying power as far as becoming the Christmas movie that people pop on every year for Christmas with their family. It's got some decent ideas, decent action, alright humor and jokes at times, but the biggest issue with it is that the characters are so thin and one-dimensional. I don't think anyone would really get emotionally invested in them or attached to them to the point where they'd want to watch this movie over and over again. The pacing of the movie is also a bit strange because it suffers from a lot of exposition dumps in the beginning because they wanted to try to have sort of a grounded, explained Santa beyond just magic about how he can deliver all these presents in one night every year and the logistics of the North Pole and the elves and how everything functions. It's all neat and interesting ideas, but the way that it's executed is just laying down an explanation for 15-20 minutes at the beginning of the movie. To give a quick plot synopsis, The Rock plays Callum Drift, who's Santa's bodyguard and sort of head of the logistics. Chris Evans plays Jack O'Malley. He's kind of just a scumbag who locates people for money. He locates Santa, gives up Santa's location, which is hidden by a technological/magical bubble to keep it from being seen, and Santa gets kidnapped. So Calum had given his resignation to Santa, who's buff J.K. Simmons, which is amusing, and Santa got kidnapped by Grilla, who's the Christmas witch, who actually has pretty interesting and dark lore. Essentially, she's more into punishing children than bringing cheer, and by punishing the bad people, the world will become a better place, is the philosophy, at least in this movie. And Callum is so tired of seeing all the negatives, and there's more people on the naughty list than the nice list, that he wants to retire. But now he has to save Santa and save Christmas. He recruits Jack O'Malley, because the guy is a locator, and that's what he does. And they need to find out who he gave the information to, so they can go save Santa. And there's a bunch of nifty little things in here, like they can make toys into the actual thing. They use toy stores as teleporters to get around the world quickly. The Rock can make himself big and small like Ant-Man, and he's supposed to be like 800 years old. And they use Jack to find out that it was this witch, Grilla, who apparently whenever you say her name, she can just hear you anywhere. And they have to fight off her minions and find out where she's hiding Santa. So they fight these snowmen and they visit Krampus. And eventually they realize that she kept Santa in the North Pole, and she's creating a bunch of snow globes that all function as one-person prison cells for eternity that are magical. So if she gives someone these snow globes, it imprisons them forever until it's not convenient plot-wise. They talk to Krampus, who is Grilla's ex-boyfriend and Santa's adopted brother. And it's neat. His place feels like a totally different world. All the sets are pretty cool. But you can see, obviously, the arcs are going to be pretty expected. The Rock was jaded and wants to retire from working for Santa. He's going to come around to see the positives in humans again. Jack O'Malley is a deadbeat dad and kind of a piece of shit. And he's going to become a better dad and a decent guy now that he's saved Christmas. Jack and Callum go fight Grilla, who's this giant ogre thing with two tails. Jack, for some reason, doesn't die repeatedly when he gets hit by her. Callum is at least not human. We don't really know what he is. And Krampus shows up because apparently he loves his brother now. And he tries to help in the fight, even though he just gets bitch smacked and then fucks off. And essentially, Santa just wins the fight by himself when he wakes up. None of this really made much sense. And then she gets trapped in one of her own snow globes, which I thought had to have the person's name on them, but they don't really seem to have any concrete rules. And that's the happy ending. So you can see the broad strokes of the movie are fine, but everything about it just feels a bit generic, kind of like any other Rock movie. The ideas for his character arc and for Jack O'Malley's character arc of becoming a better dad and better person are both fine, but they really hardly touch on them. And I kind of wonder if there was a part edited out because Jack O'Malley as a kid gets made fun of for not being able to find his dad, and then that's just never brought up again. It sort of seems like that was supposed to be like another subplot that just got abandoned and then not cut out on the editing room floor. All the scenes with J.K. Simmons were great, obviously. Him being kind of a buff Santa and needing to eat a crazy amount of calories because he expends a shitload on Christmas Eve every year is all pretty cool ideas for world building and legitimizing with reason how Santa does his job every year, and having all the little elf helpers for logistics and to do repairs on stuff he knocks over, and he can shrink and grow and do gymnastics, and he's really fast. All that stuff is fun. Just character-wise, the movie's really lacking. because they essentially function as exposition dumpers and then a joke here and there. So while they briefly touch on their actual character, they don't ever really commit to it, and they opt to go for jokes and action scenes instead. And the action scenes are okay. The idea of the buff snowmen's cool. Being at Krampus's place where he's got all kinds of weird demon-looking people, all neat. There's Cyclopses there and ogres and all that sort of thing. It's got a lot of good pieces and ideas. It just doesn't really blend them all together into one coherent story. I think it was smart of them to just put this on Prime pretty much right away instead of theater. I don't think people were going to see it in theater. It had a massive budget, apparently. And I think most people are content to watch it one time on Prime, put it on in the background maybe for Christmas Day, and then never watch it again. This will not be another Nightmare Before Christmas or A Christmas Story, Christmas Vacation, Die Hard. Pick any of your favorite Christmas classics, The Grinch obviously. This movie is fine, but the lack of good execution makes it forgettable. I'm going to leave it there for this one. If you've seen it, let me know what you think. I try to respond to all the comments that aren't just insults. Have a Merry Christmas. Like and subscribe and all that shit. Thanks. See ya.